So it goes like this. Your Tuesday morning, you open Slack, 40 something unread messages across a dozen channels and DMs. Three of them say urgent. One is about a deliverable someone thinks is due next Friday. Another person thought it shipped last week. And a third is still working for feedback from 2 versions ago. You check your project management tool, Trello, Monday, ClickUp. There are tasks everywhere. Some are overdue, some have no owner. A few say complete, and you know for a fact they're not. Your calendar has a quick sync at 10, a status update at 11:30, and something called an alignment meeting that you're pretty sure was supposed to be canceled 2 weeks ago. By noon, you've been in 3 meetings, answered 30 messages, and haven't done a single piece of actual work. You look at your pipeline, and it's a lot thinner than it was 6 months ago. You know you should be doing more SEO, email, content, ads, lead generation. But you're too busy running your business or department to actually do it. You're too busy holding everything together. You've hired freelancers, a project manager, maybe even an agency or two, but nothing connects, nothing sticks. Everyone's working on their own pieces in their own corners, and somehow you're still not growing at the pace that you think you should be. You can't tell what's working because tracking is broken. You're spending money on marketing, but you're not really sure where it's going or if it's working. And every time you try to fix one thing, 3 other things fall apart. You convince yourself that if you just get around this next hurdle or work one more weekend, there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. If your team feels like this, it's not because you're bad at your job. It's not because your people aren't talented or hardworking. It's not because you haven't found the right app or the right agency yet. I've seen these patterns at every company I've worked with, and I've lived them myself. The first time I was part of a team trying to save a 130-year-old media company, legacy brand with a failing business model. We had 100 days to rebuild everything, and we made the deadline. But the way we made it, late nights, weekend meetings, constant check-ins because nothing was connected and nobody was speaking the same language. But the team made it happen through sheer will. Right after we launched, I got on a cruise to Japan, something that I thought would be a celebration and a time to rest and recover. Instead, I stood on the deck somewhere in the Pacific and thought to myself, I cannot do this again. We had no system underneath, no universal language, no universal way to describe how we work, just people holding things together manually for as long as they possibly could. The second time was the opposite problem. I joined a company that had a process for everything, SOPs galore, 15 different project boards with 30 columns each. Tracking upon tracking. You had to check 5 different places just to find your work for the day. And every time something broke, someone created a new process to fix it, layer after layer after layer. The result was people spending more time navigating the system itself than doing actual work. How's that for growth strategy? The company was bloated, inefficient, the team was frustrated, not because they lacked process, but because they had too much of it, and none of it connected or spoke to each other. Same chaos, different cause. That's when I realized that the answer isn't more process or less process, it's the right infrastructure. One system that actually works instead of dozens that kind of work. So I built it. ClarityOS is the system I'd wish I had had in those 100 days. It's the infrastructure that makes your team stop working in chaos. It's built on existing project management tools like ClickUp, Monday, Trello, the sprint boards that are already set up. It's a file system that actually makes sense. It's automations that handle all the repetitive stuff so people can focus on real work. You're not building it from scratch. You're not watching tutorials and cobbling things together. You install it, it runs. Here's what that actually feels like. Your team knows what they're working on this week, not because you told them in a meeting, but because it's visible. Anyone from any department can open the board and see what's in progress, what's next, and who owns what. When someone finishes something, they move it forward. The next person gets notified automatically. No messages with a, hey, just checking on this. What's the status of this? They know. The system tells them that information. When new work comes in, it goes through a singular request form, not a Slack message or an email or a desk drive-by. Those get buried. It's a form that captures what's needed, when it's needed by, so it can be prioritized properly. You stop being the glue because the system is the glue. And here's the part that most systems get wrong. You don't become the forever source of truth. You know how it goes. You buy a tool, you set it up, and suddenly every question about how it works lands on you. Where does this go? What's the process for this? How do I find this thing? We built custom GPTs trained on the entire ClarityOS methodology. Your team asks a question and they'll get answers from the GPTs. You're not the help desk anymore. That's ClarityOS. But here's what I learned. Infrastructure only solves half of the problem. Most teams I work with aren't just struggling with how work moves, they're struggling with growth. Some are growing but can't keep up. The work is coming in faster than they can deliver, which is a great problem to have, but it can cause burnout and your top talent to leave. Others are doing fine in one channel, but they can't crack it at another. Referrals are strong, but paid isn't working. Organic is flat, retention is leaking. Marketing is happening, but it feels scattered and piecemeal. No one's really sure what's actually working. Leads are coming in, but they don't convert at the end, and nobody can pinpoint why. And when something breaks, everyone is eager to point fingers. Marketing says it's an ops problem. Ops says it's a leadership problem. Leadership buys another tool or hires another freelancer or brings on another agency. And 6 months later, same problems, different vendors. I've seen this so many times. And when you go to hire an agency, you're forced to pick a lane: marketing or ops or strategy or SEO or content or funnels. So you end up hiring 3 different vendors who don't talk to each other. You're stuck in the middle trying to make it all connect. Even if you do find a good one, they're usually running a playbook, their playbook. They try to pigeonhole your brand into a strategy that's worked for someone else. Or worse, they hand you a giant list of recommendations alongside a big invoice and walk away. Here's what you should do. Good luck. That doesn't help you. You didn't need a list. You needed someone to understand your unique business and its goals, identify what's wrong, and actually fix it. So I built Lúcida. Lúcida is a senior agency team that comes in, figures out what's actually broken, and fixes it ourselves. Not advice, not a strategy deck, actual work completed and delivered to you. We look at everything: marketing, operations, growth systems, product, team structure, dev, user experience, because those things aren't separate. When your funnel isn't converting, that's not just a marketing problem. When projects keep stalling, that's not just an operations problem. It's usually all of it. Our 4-week sprint tackles just that. In week 1, we audit. We figure out what's broken, what's working, and what's getting in the way of where you're trying to go. Weeks 2 and 3, we fix and build. Not everything, the highest priority items that will actually move the needle for your business. Maybe that's a landing page that's leaking conversions. Maybe it's tracking that's broken so you can finally see what is working. Maybe it's the workflows that are creating bottlenecks. Whatever's standing between you and your goals, that's what we're fixing. Week 4, we hand you a working system and a 90-day roadmap so you know exactly what to tackle next. And if you want us to stay after that, we can, but you're not locked in. The sprint delivers a working system, whether you continue with us or not. So that's the answer to what do you actually do, which is a question I get a lot. ClarityOS is the system you install. Lúcida is the team that you hire. Most of our clients use both. ClarityOS becomes the operational backbone. Lúcida makes sure it actually drives results. You can use ClarityOS on its own if you've got the capacity to roll it out yourself. A lot of ops leads and founders do exactly that. But if you need someone to come in and fix the whole picture, not just operations, but marketing, growth, team structure, strategy, that's Lúcida. If any of this sounds like your situation, if you're tired of being the glue, if you're tired of the Tuesday morning chaos, if you've tried tools and processes and agencies and freelancers and project managers and none of them have stuck, there's a full breakdown linked below. Pricing, how everything fits together, who it's for, who it's not for. And if you want to talk, there's a link for that too. Thanks for watching.